topic, I will take about 1 hour, less than 1 hour. So we will go to chapter 4, part 1, which is fire safety. So fire safety system is also very important in building, where I will explain later. It is one of requirement before the building can get permission to live in, right? So hopefully you already read, because if possible, we can discuss and have a communication in two ways about the content, right? Okay, let's look into some statistics. Okay, this slide shows data of 2018, because this is when I summarized this slide in 2020, I believe, but during that time, the available data is only until 2018, but no problem. The point is, sorry for Luai and other students, because this is in Malay, but this thing shows types of fire in Malaysia until 2018. So this is several types. So this is others. Others means it cannot be categorized. But when we look into number 2, it is a building and inside of the building, bangunan dan isinya. And then this is unused space, and then transportation, car, and garbage, and so on. But in this statistic, what I want to highlight is building is one of the top types of fire happen. Okay, so it is a building. Fire that related to building. So this shows that it is quite important to install or to make sure the building have a proper fire safety system. Okay, and the second table show causes. This is sengaja dibakar, which is niat baik, intent to burn. Maybe they want to dispose something. So firstly they intend to burn, but end up not good, right? And then number 2 is electricity. Number 4 is kitchen. So basically, and then so on, it's like cigarette waste, spark of fire, and so on. But we can see again in the top 3 still related to building. Okay, so this is a quite serious problem, because building is where we live. Building is where we live as a residential or as a building to work, but it is prone to fire. Okay, that's why fire safety is very important. And also, as I mentioned before, fire safety is one of requirement to get certificate of completion and compliance, to make sure the building, if a new building, constructed new building need a permission to be able to live in, they need a permission from one of it is from fire department. Okay, so there are many requirements for a new building, but fire safety is also one of the important requirement. All right, let's move into what is a fire. How can fire happen? Hopefully you already learned. So as you can see these slides, how the fire being created, it is important to understand, because when you understand this, then you know how to deal with fire. Okay, so basically fire happen when there are 3 components combined together, which is fuel, oxygen, and heat. Okay, what is fuel? Fuel can be it is actually a combustible material or substance, not only petrol, not only gas, but any combustible material or substance. It can be categorized as fuel. And then we have oxygen, which is in the air, and heat. It can be spark. Okay, spark of fire combined with air and combustible material. When it has exists together, it can cause fire. Then, when you understand this, you know, so when we want to remove If any of this remove, the fire will go up. Okay, so to remove fire, we have to remove one of the component, because if there is no oxygen, then the fire will stop. If we can separate the fuel, then we can remove the fire, or we can remove the continuous heat, we can remove the fire. Okay, so fire need all of this. And then to remove fire or fire fighting agent, there are five based on MFPA, National Fire Protection Agency. This is global. There are five category. Class A, Class B, Class C, Class D, and Class K. Okay, what you have to know is different class firefighting agent use different material or suitable to use different material. For example, Class A. Class A is fire that involve flammable solids. What type of solids? It is, for example, woods, cloth, rubber, paper, and some type of plastics. So basically, it is for solids material. So how to extinguish the fire uh, for Class A? So we can use water, dry chemical powder, and foam. Okay, what is dry chemical powder? The chemical powder is, for example, as you see in the fire extinguisher in the red tube, labeled normally ABC, right? So it will pump fire uh, to extinguish it will pump the powder to extinguish the fire, right? Okay, basically, chemical and foam, they want to provide a layer that can whether it can separated the fuel or separated the fuel with the air. Basically, all these things uh, we want to, for example, water is to just remove the heat. Dry chemical powder also to remove the heat and also can separate the combustible materials. The foam is to create a layer to divide the fire and also the oxygen. All right, that is for Class A. What is about Class B? So if you read, Class B is fire related to liquids or flammable liquids, except liquid that related to cooking. Okay, so please be aware. Class B is fire that involve flammable liquids such as petrol, gasoline, oil, paint, and some wax and plastics, but not cooking fats or oils, and fire that involve flammable gases. So not related to cooking is B. So in this case, we can use carbon dioxide, dry chemical powder, uh, foam, and halon. So halon and chemical CO2 is actually a gas, right? So in here, you can see that we cannot use water. Class B, if there is a flammable liquid, we cannot use water. Okay, so you need to be able to distinguish about it. And Class C. Class C is fire that involve any of material involved in Class A and Class B. So A and B, but with introduction of electrical appliance. So basically, we can say C is related to electricity, fire that involve electrical appliances. So in this case, we only can use carbon dioxide gas, halon gas, and dry chemical powder. So we cannot use water. We also cannot use foam, because foam also contain of some mixing of water, right? It can be a thermal electric conductivity. And then D is fire involve combustible metals, okay, such as sodium, magnesium, and potassium. So D is for metals. So we can only use dry chemical powder. Meanwhile, lastly is additional class, Class K, number 5. So Class K is for fires in cooking appliance. So any liquid that from B, liquid that's except for cooking fats, oil, and flammable gases, it is moved to Class K. Okay. So for class K, suitable material is wet chemical, right? So by understanding this, you know if there is a case study, if there is a given case study, what is the suitable uh, firefighting agent, okay, to be used for certain case. You need to understand first what type of material involved, or what type of material or equipment mostly in the room, okay, and then we can provide the suitable firefighting agent. Okay, next, the important things is for building, normally there are two types of fire protection system. Okay, one is passive, another one is active. So if it's okay if I ask you, what do you understand about passive system? Anybody? You can also write in the text box. Okay, based on your reading, what do you understand about passive system and active? Any answer? Tak ada. Okay.
Is some precautions that do not require the immediate actions,
Okay.
such as human response.
All right. Thank you
Just
for answering.
precaution protected beforehand, like that.
Okay.
Yang sedia ada.
Okay. Okay, we look into passive system first. All right. Thank you for your answer. But I cannot detect who is answered that before, but thank you. All right. Passive system, if we read the description, it is a protection through initial delays, reduce of rate of burning, and fire spread through fire-resistant building component. Okay. So basically, in this statement, is it informed that, is it the meaning of this statement is uh, we should remove the fire? We should, is that explain about extinguishing the fire?
No.
Extinguish, no, right? Okay. So protection through delays, as you inform, right? Okay. All right. I think I understand what you want to inform. So we have also several answer. Protected from fire, Afika. Okay, protection, but not so detailed. Umi said system which can delay fire from spread. Okay, partially true. Okay, why? Actually, continue from the answer. Why we want to delay? Okay, slow the fire from spread activity by Umi. Okay, basically good answer, but partially correct because we need more explanation. Or okay, like this. Okay, I can say that is true. So the passive system actually to, as you said, protection through ignition delay. Okay, we can go down here lah. Okay, to delay the spread of fire. Okay. By fire resistant wall, floor, and doors, etc. Okay, why? Why it is important to delay the spread of fire? Because the function of passive system is to make sure occupants have enough time to get out from the building, exit. Okay. Selain itu perkataan keluar apa? Keluarlah untuk menyelamatkan diri. Okay. We want to make sure the fire can be delayed through a fire resistant building design to make sure people or occupant have enough time to get out from the building. So that is actually the intention, the purpose of passive system. The name itself is not directly purpose to extinguish the fire. All right. Next, we look into active system. Now, the name itself, active is opposed to passive. So in active system, contrary to passive fire protection, it's require a certain amount of motion and respond to work. So basically, active system is where the trained person uh, or the system itself need to extinguish the fire, right? So hopefully you can understand the basic fundamental. And thank you for your answer. Both of you, all of you is answer is basically correct, right? But I explain more further. Okay, so example or the aspect of fire protection in passive system, there are many, but in here I bring up several, which is building utilization, compartmentation, and mean of escape. For fire protection system active, we have a detection system and suppression. Suppression means to extinguish the fire. Okay, so basically in building we need both. We need both system to act together. All right, let's go into passive system number one, building utilization. If we look into the definition, means limiting the number of person using undivided space such as meeting room, classroom, auditorium, hotel room, or stadium. Okay, so building utilization normally exists actually to limit the number of people. Okay, why we want to limit the number of people? Limit number of people is, for example, if we have a meet, if in a building, this is plan of building. So we have a office. So for example, we have a meeting room. They have a open space, working area. It has a area, okay, meter squared, some area. So based on each area and numbers of doors, okay, it should be designed to be suitable numbers of occupants. We need to limit numbers of occupants working in a space. Right. The reason is, as you can read here, is to ensure occupant able to leave the building through the available number of exits in reasonable amount of time without trampling each other in panic situation. Right. So the function of building utilization again, we did design the area based on the area. They should design to limit numbers of people. Okay, to make sure the working personnel is not too many. Okay, to make sure during if fire happen, all the occupants can apa, leave the building, leave the room safely without trampling each other in panic situation, because all is panic, right? So if too many people, uh, people will tend to be panic and tolak menolak berlaku, trampling or tripping each other during to leave the building, right? Okay, but can understand, the name utilization, penggunaan bangunan, penggunaan ruangan. Okay, that is number one, building utilization. But in detail, in detail specification about utilization, there are many requirement or many uh, regulation. So specific regulation you need to refer to. In Malaysia, we have uniform building bylaw document. Okay, uniform building by law. Okay, or fire safety standards of Malaysia. In case of Malaysia lah, alright. Fire safety Malaysia. So in here, in this course is to introduce you the types of system, but in detail, if you want to learn more, you need to refer all of this because it is very detailed, based on the area, based on the type of building, what is required, available, allowable numbers of people should working in that confined area. All right, number two is building compartmentation. So as you can see here, the Definition is to divide a spaces into small compartment by fire resistant wall which may contain single or multiple rooms. Let's see in this figure. So if we have several story, okay, and to make sure the fire not easily spread, so it is suggested to make a compartmentation. Compartmentation is to make the area smaller by a partition which made of fire resistant wall. Okay, for example, if there is fire happen, so it's the fire can actually spread, but it will delay. Okay, because the wall normally fire resistant wall, it has many specification. There are 1 hour retention, 2 hour retention, 3 hour retention, depends on the thickness and the material. Okay, and sometimes if you already learn design, building design, concrete design, so you have beam, for example, beam, and also you have concrete cover, right? Okay, concrete cover. So the thickness of concrete cover, thickness of concrete cover also memainkan peranan, give impact on the how many hours the structure can retain or can delay the fire, right? Okay, example of building compartmentation is dividing office area into working place, office equipment, photocopy room, paper shredder machine for, right. So for example, they suggest, so the area that have many combustible materials such as paper need to be maybe divide like this. So this is working, this is a machine room, okay. This divide by compartmentation wall. But the important criteria is the compartmentation wall should be made from fire resistant element. Okay, so this is some figure. So fire resisting element can be fireproofing material, fireproof spray material, or the building material itself. For example, fire resistant door or partition wall. So in this figure, normally in Malaysia also we can see if you live in terrace house. So this is house number 1, this is house number 2. Basically, you can see slightly increase of roof. Okay. So this is what we call as party compartmentation, party wall. Okay. It in some in specification there is a required number. For example, 230 millimeters should be extend from the roof, okay, to show that this is a party wall. Okay. So this is for fire regulation. So it's not bukan saja-sajalah designed to be extend a little bit, but this is requirement as a party wall should be extend several millimeter. Okay. Okay, last but not least, for passive. Okay, so again, the purpose of passive is to make sure people can evacuate. Sorry, now I remember the name. Evacuate properly. Evacuate. So it is a mean of escape. So you can see mean of escape or tangga keselamatan dekat mana-mana kan. So kita maybe before this you not really think the importance of mean of escape. And normally the door of mean of escape not always close. Is sometimes people kita buka dia kan lama-lama. But actually mean of escape is one very important things that need to be applied in a building. So basically it has 3 portion. Exit access, exit, and exit discharge. So exit exchange access is a portion of exit route that leads to exit. Okay, imagine I don't know. Okay, here. Let's draw maybe here lah. Okay, this one. Right. Let's use this example. So we have 3 part: exit access, and then number 2 exit. or exit route. Number three is exit discharge. So basically, in building, it's already properly planned. So for example, here, if you're working in some of this area, and then this example is uh, exit route. So before this is a fire safety door. Okay. So exit access is the area where the path, the path, jalan, the path should not be obstructed and clearly lead to the exit door. Okay, so exit access requirement is like that. Uh, the exit door, the exit access should be clearly notified, and the path should not be obstructed. Okay, and then there is exit access, the way the path to the exit route. Number two, the exit route. Exit route is inside. When you go inside the door, when you inside the, for example, staircase, so the stair itself is a exit route. And then at the bottom of the building you have a exit discharge door. So there, when you go out from the building, that is named as the portion of exit discharge. Okay. So detail of exit mean of escape you can read here. This is basically some of requirement. Okay. I believe I will not discuss in detail. So there are many. So normally when we design, we will refer the standards, what should be done, and then make sure all of this requirement is put into a contract document and check during the construction. Okay. So the important things here is exit access should not be obstructed. Exit route should be covered. So exit route here, this wall should be fire resistant. Okay, fire resistant. So normally, uh, the staircase for fire safety route, uh, slightly better fire resistant. We can say this part is compartmentation, and then should have a good ventilation. Because when the fire happen, basically statistically, many people not, actually the people are pengsan apa, pass out not because of fire but because of smoke, right? So that's why if fire happen, we need to get down or crawl as low as possible because the hot fume smoke going up, right, and distribute to the upper space. So we need to go dark, slightly lower to get a fresh air. And the best way is the exit access should have a very good ventilation to extract the smoke. So that is the requirement for passive, okay, passive design. So again, in the passive system, we not deal with the fire directly, but the building design provide protection, okay, as you see, some of students inform, to make sure people, occupant can evacuate from the building safely. Uh, and most importantly is not trampling and what tadi? Tripping or trampling each other. Right. Okay. Let's you try to understand about it first. Let's we take rest for 4 minutes. Okay. We continue at 3:30. In half an hour, we can cover about active system. So maybe you can revise a little bit and we can discuss again later. Okay, mungkin kita boleh sambung. Alright, the second part is active system. So this is the system that you also maybe see in the building. So as I mentioned before, so for active system, all is by specific system, right? So we have a fire detection system and fire suppression. So for detection system, we have either manual or automatic fire detection system. Okay, so the component is normally alarm, manual call point, and detector. Right? This is example of manual alarm. So you need to break the glass, and then this is a smoke detector, heat detector, and normally in the complete system, all the sensors will attach or link to the fire control panel. Right? Meanwhile, for fire suppression system, there are many. For example, there are start from the simplest one, which is fire extinguisher, which is portable, and then fire sprinklers, drenchers, foam and gas, hydrant, and smoke extraction. So in this course, we just want to introduce to you the type of this available system and how it looks like. Okay. Right, for fire detection system, we can see a simple system. The most simplest system is in the school, right? We already have gone through this. So normally in school they have a manual fire alarm detection where if there is a fire alarm, you need to break the glass. Okay, so fire occurrence, fire, and then go to the manual call point, and then it will trigger the alarm, and you can call fire department. Okay, so in this manual fire alarm detection, the second part is optional normally, right? Okay, this is example of breaking glass, and then this is emergency telephone. Okay, meanwhile for automatic fire alarm, it has an automatic detector or heat detector where it can send the data to trigger the alarm and then show in the control panel. Okay, and then in the modern or advanced system, it can automatically connect to fire department. So the control panel, I'm not sure if you already have seen this before. Normally in the control room, it has this control panel. Normally this is a layout, shows the location of room. For example, this has a 16. 16. This is actually an LED bulb, LED light. So these are 16 light, mean there are 16 location of sensor. If the sensor activated, and then it will switch on, blink, or something like that. So the person, the in charge person, can check which sensor is activated. All right. So this is control panel. Okay. So next we have a suppression system. So the simplest one is fire extinguisher. Okay, fire extinguisher, as it is like this. I think you know. So dry powder ABC. So what actually is ABC? Do you know? Anybody can answer? What is actually ABC? Why the name is ABC? All right. Fire category. Yes, you are correct. Okay. So dry powder ABC means it's suitable for class A, class B, class C. Means dry powder is suitable for solid, suitable for flammable liquid, except for cooking, and then C for electrical, right? And then we have CO2. So normally dry powder ABC, the label is in blue color. Even though the container is red, all is mostly red, but it has label. So dry powder is a blue label. If CO2, okay, CO2, it has a black label, and also the extinguisher nozzle is different. Okay. So basically, these two is available in the market, in the shop. You can purchase. So basically, this is based on the weight, okay, and size. Weight and size. Maybe the price 1 kilo is about 70 to 80. And the big one is about maybe 150 ringgit. For CO2 is slightly expensive. It start from, if I'm not mistaken, 180 ringgit. Okay, CO2 gas. And then slightly special, which is a foam, normally in cream, okay, cream label. And then this is halon gas. Personally, I never see it directly, personally, but it is exists, halon gas. So these two, CO2 and halon, is a gas, right? So we need to use the fire extinguisher based on class. So that's why it is very important to understand the type of fire first. So you cannot use apa, tak boleh menggunakan sesuka hati lah. You need to properly choose the suitable fire extinguishing agent. Okay, this is simplest one. So in home, in your house, maybe you can use it directly, but in office or public area, you still can possibly use this. But normally in the public building, there has normally a person in charge, okay, safety, building safety to use. But if there is nobody, if I happen nobody take action, the first thing is to evacuate first. All right. So normally the fire department will extinguish the fire, except if you are the person in charge. All right, let's move to a slightly complicated one. It is a fire sprinkler, water sprinkler. Okay, not all building have, even though, example, in my office also doesn't have a fire sprinkler, but outside of building has fire extinguisher. Okay. So fire sprinkler, how it works is there is this what we call is fire sprinkler bulb, nozzle. So this will attach to piping, okay, fire safety piping system. So normally it's the water retained by bulb. This is a glass bulb. So inside the glass bulb has a temperature sensitive liquid. When it got heated, it will expand and broke the glass, and the water will be sprinkled. This is number one. Number two is soldered strut type. This is the soldered strut type is this metal, okay, sustain or hold the water, and then this is also temperature sensitive element. So when fire happen and we get heated, the soldered, okay, the metal melt. It will melt, and then the water will be released. Okay, so two type of sprinkler head, sprinkler head. All right. So normally, the sprinkler distributed like this. So you can refer to MS standard 19100 or British standard BS 9251. So in basics distribution, we need to water supply source, water supply, and then need a riser and distribute to all location. Okay. So there is a calculation actually. In one area, how many sprinkler head is required. So, but we will not go into detail. So design consideration, we need to consider pipe size, flow of water pressure, operating pressure, sprinkler head spacing. There are calculation and distance between sprinkler. All right. In terms of the sprinkler type itself, there are two types. The sprinkler system itself has two types, which is a wet pipe system and dry pipe system. In wet pipe system means the pipes always filled with water. Okay? There are always water filled inside the pipe, and if the sprinkler head activated, it will immediately sprinkle water. This is step number one, wet pipe system. But in dry pipe system, there are no water ready in the pipe, but it is full with pressurized air. Okay, remember, so there are two types, wet pipe system and dry pipe system. Okay, so dry pipe system is not readily filled with water, but filled with air pressure. So when the fire happens, the air will vent out first, then followed by water. But the question is, why this system exists? Why we not prepare the pipe with water, right? Okay. Okay, this system exists because in some country, in some climate, the temperature can fall below freeze. Boleh mencapai di bawah tahap beku. Okay, so if the pipe exposed to the extreme climate, very freezing climate, the water inside the pipe will get froze, akan membeku. Especially for the fire sprinkler system that located for a building that doesn't have enough heating equipment, okay, or unheated premises such as warehousing, where winter temperature could drop below zero. So this system, uh, it will store, the water will store some other places in the storage that has a heating element. So the water storage can be at the water tank. The water temperature keep heated only at that place. Okay, now until now still okay. So now you can differentiate when to use, why this dry pipe system also exists. Okay. Okay, in detail, the next slide shows in detail the distribution, what involved in the sprinkle system. Right. Maybe later after this you can see more clearly, read again. So this is two type. Okay. One is dry pipe. Sorry. Okay, sorry. This is a wet pipe system. Wet. And number two is dry pipe system. Both system is actually the same. First thing first is they need supply of water. Main water supply. Main water supply from fire safety storage tank. Okay, so storage tank for fire safety is different with the water tank for occupants daily usage. So this is recommended, or if I'm not mistaken, the water supply should be at least in two ways, or at least two sources, minimum two sources. Why? Because if one water supply problem, we can get another supply from another one. So at least need two supply, two water main fed from both ends in case of emergency. Okay, and then the water will be supplied to this control valve. So in the control valve here, also they have this one. Is control the water go to the riser, and also has this alarm gong turbine. So when the water flow, it will create alarm here. Okay, hydraulic alarm gong. So in this wet pipe system, all the inside this piping control valve, control valve is full with water. Okay, compared to dry pipe system, okay, as you can see this, this is almost similar, but the difference is inside the control valve. Okay, in the dry pipe system, only half the water stop here. Okay, and then in the riser and all the piping is empty but full with pressurized. So when a fire happen, the air will be released, and then the pressure will push the water go to the sprinkler head. That is for water sprinkler. Okay, so basically, if I want to draw a building, maybe I can to show some schematic. Maybe like this. So if you have a building, okay, normally, for example, several multi-story. So, for example, risers start from here. It will go to all story and distribute the sprinkler. And at the bottom, all the equipment is this one. All of this control valve and all the water supply. Then where is the sprinkler, or where is this water source come? Okay, so it can come from a storage system, suction tank or gravity tank, direct from gravity tank, and direct from water resource. For example, from river. Okay, so from river we need pump. Okay, so hopefully you can control it. So this from water tank or source. So source is from here, either one of these. Suction tank, suction tank I will explain later in the chapter 6. So the purpose of suction tank. But for now, you can understand it as a gravity tank or suction tank. Okay, is it okay if I continue? We have still many. All right. So basically, I believe, okay, I will go through briefly. So the next system is drenches. Okay, so from you see here, if you already read, can you point out what is the difference between drenches and sprinkler? Can you find any differences? Drenches and sprinklers. Is it the same? Okay, tak ada jawapan. Alright, saya pemudahkanlah, kita pun dah tak ada masa banyak. So drenches, if you read, the working principle is almost the same as sprinkler, but the difference is where it installed, where it's being installed. If the water sprinkler we install inside a building, inside a room, but for drenches we install at the roof, walls, and windows. Roof, walls, and windows. But honestly, I still cannot, in application, I never seen this directly in the system, but maybe this system is installed in different country, okay, or much modern building. Okay, another system is hose reel. All right, I believe you're familiar with hose reel, and this is how the hose reel distribution, almost similar as sprinklers. They need a water source and control panel, control valve. Okay, and then supply all the hose reel at every level. And then we also have hydrants. So what is different hydrants and hose reel? So hydrants is just a source of water, pipes, lah. Okay. So somebody or we need to attach the hose to these hydrants. But the hose reel this already has a hose, but the limitation is it has a certain length only, limited length, limited length. But for hydrants, we can attach longer hose. Okay. So for hydrant also we have a wet riser and dry riser. Okay. So wet riser is always have water ready and connect to the water supply tank. But dry riser, they need water from outside hydrants, whether from the outside hydrants to connect to the dry hydrants, or normally can get supply from the firefighter vehicle, fire service vehicle. So as you can see here, dry riser is actually has empty, no water. Okay, so if there is a fire department truck bring with water, they can attach the hose with water to these dry hydrants. Next, we have foam system. So as you can see, foam system sometimes beneficial for some application, especially for liquid, flammable liquid. So there are three types. This is the first one is the simplest one. Okay, inlet box. Right. So in this system, it has inlet box and spreader. But where they get the source of foam. Okay, the source of foam is get from firefighter. Firefighter will attach, okay, this foam. They will supply foam, and then this unit will spread the foam inside the building. Okay, the next system also a foam system, but really is can have the foam source. So number one is pump operated mechanical foam. Number two is premix foam, something like this. So this, okay, imagine this will go to the room or the area. So the pump operated mechanical foam this is the foam concentrated. So this is actually not a foam, but just a foam concentrated, and then there is water here, and then this okay, as a venturi. So when the system activated, okay, the foam concentrated will be pumped to the venturi. Okay, and then at the venturi it will mix with the water and then create a foam solution. This is pump operated. Number two is a system is a pre-mixed foam. So it means in this container already has a foam. So when the system activated, this carbon oxide cylinder gas will provide pressure and push the foam and make sure the foam can be spread. So different approach lah. Okay, last but not least is gas extinguishing. So in this slide, we have a halon system and also carbon dioxide system. So the application is similar. So inside normally we use gas. So in halon system, it has a spherical container. Meanwhile, for CO2 is cylindrical. Okay. So if this is a room, okay, so in the room attached like a sprinkler, okay, the distribution almost similar that a sprinkler. So we have a carbon dioxide discharge nozzle, okay, at the top and the bottom, and then all this nozzle is connected to the high pressure cylinder gas at the outside. Okay, so when this setting will use extinguishing system, CO2 or gas, when it will be used. So that is the question. Right. And last but not least, fire suppression by ventilation. So basically, it is much more explanation on this. So the important is to make sure we can remove the smoke. Okay, so there are many strategies, many types, but the keyword is when fire happen, it is beneficial if the design has a very high opening. So instead of a lower opening for fire exhaust fan, it is recommended the building to have an exhaust fan at the higher location as possible to make sure the fire not accumulated at the lower area. So if they can create negative pressure here, all the smoke can go to higher level. and not accumulated at the lower level. Right? That is some of the key to get to design a smoke extraction. But nevertheless, if the building doesn't have a high area, or for example atrium like this, or maybe there is just a story with limited or low floor to ceiling height, so they no no option, need to use exhaust fan, okay, at the wall. Right. Basically, there is the introduction. So basically, I believe you can read in detail. So this is how the system works, or this is how it looks. Okay, basic fundamental of all the fire safety system. Right. So again, the question is, there is so many system. Which one should we install? Which one should they design? All right. So basically, it will, above all, we still need to refer to building standards. Okay. So not all system will be installed. Okay. So right. If okay. So I have this slide from this is a Selangor Uniform Bylaw, right? So let's look. If I'm not mistaken, one at page 115. Right. At least for housing. Okay. Let's look. Okay. This actually in house also we should prepare some. Okay. So as you see here in the building law, for small resident, private dwelling up to 2 story, either terrace type, semi-detached, detached house, at least should have portable fire extinguisher are to be provided for private dwellings. Smoke detector of the self-contained type is to be provided at the top of the staircase. So at least need to be installed fire extinguisher in residential or private dwellings. Okay, so if you don't have one, so if you have your own house in future, uh, maybe you should consider to have one. All right. Next, for other type of building. So depends on the, we should refer to the building standard. So as shown here, okay, let's see what is the this legend. So A is hose reel, B is sprinkler, C is gases extinguisher system, D is pressurized fire hydrants lah. And then number one, this is fire detector, manual, electric fire alarm, automatic fire alarm, and so public address system, and so on. So for example, for educational building, so they divided by two: requirement for extinguishing system, requirement for fire detecting system. Right. So A, hose reel. So it's depend. So as you can see here, it's depend on the storage. It depends on the area, right? So big area exceeding 2,000 square meter, they not only need hose reel but also need sprinkler system. So this is how uh, the designer or the fire system engineer system as engineer of fire safety design. So they need to adhere menurut keperluan standards. Okay. So bangunan yang besar, bangunan yang kecil, small building, maybe from the standards or requirement is hose reel is enough. And then fire detection number one and two, manual or automatic, manual and automatic. And some of building area need 1, 3, 4, 5 manual, automatic also required, public address system is required, fire command system is required. Okay, let's see B. Okay, B have C, gases. When we need C and D, gases and pressurized hydrants. Okay, let's see D or C. All right. So what is required in gases? Where should apply gases? All right, D. We found D. Okay, D is pressurized fire hydrant. Okay, normally in, for example, flatted factory block, okay, 3-story and above, with compartment exceeding 1,000 square foot. So, so this need A and D. Means hose reel is required, fire hydrant is also required. In some condition, hose reel required, sprinkler system required, and D is required, right? And C, okay, I found one C. Special condition, special hazard, building with hazardous processes. So need A, B, C, or D. Okay, so A, B, so they can use A, B, C, or D, right? So this is where we decide, they decide to, what to use. All right, I think we have reached the time. So may I know, do you understand, do you get a clear picture about the fire safety system, or do you want to ask anything regarding this system? Ada apa-apa soalan tak? Okey, saya rasa tak ada dia tak ada. So slide ni adalah introduction. This slide and its content is already, for example, for fire active fire system, already list the type of system. So if you want to check more detail, you can check online or read the books lah, in detail how it's operated and some requirements. So you can also find this MS1910 and BS9250. So I cannot cover all much because chapter 4 next will be building transportation. So hopefully you can explore this, and if you have any question during ulang kaji, make the revision, you can ask me. All right, so if there is no question, I would like to end this class. So thank you very much again for attending. Very good numbers of students attend this class. So till we meet again next week. All right, thank you very much and Assalamualaikum.
Thank you,
Thank you,
Doctor.
Doctor.
Thank you, Doctor.